Hi everyone, this is Mason with Kentucky Hidden Wonders. Before we get to today's episode, we want to hear from you. Do you know someone who would make a great guest for Kentucky Hidden Wonders? Fill out the form online at visitshelbyky.com/podcast to nominate a guest. On to the show.
Welcome to Kentucky Hidden Wonders. I'm Jeanette Marson.
And I'm Mason Warren.
Together, we're uncovering the secrets, stories, and hidden gems of Shelby County, Kentucky.
From unforgettable places to off-the-beaten-path adventures, join us as we explore Kentucky treasures and Shelby County's best-kept secrets.
Today, our guest is Deputy Judge Jon Park. And John, thank you so much for being here with us. We're thrilled to have you.
Well, thanks for having me.
Well, why don't we start by you going ahead and telling the listeners a little bit about yourself and your background and let them get to know you just a little bit better.
Well, originally I'm from Illinois. I was born and raised in Springfield. My home was about 3 miles from Abraham Lincoln's home. I know he was born here in Kentucky. He ended up in Springfield, called it home. So, and growing up, that was every field trip, school function, everything was all about Abraham Lincoln. And so that's where I got my love for Lincoln and love to study him. My mother and father both worked for the state of Illinois and met working in the Capitol and later married, and then I was born after that. But growing up, it was all public service, interest in politics and just our civics, learning both sides. We watched both sides during conventions and debates, and I got a really good education in that. So that was my early bringing. I was called to the ministry. I went to school to be a minister. Then later on in life, I was a pastor for a while and in the ministry. But then I went to work for healthcare and worked with hospice patients. So those two things, I look back and see how God kind of moved me to where I am today. I still consider this to be a mission field, but service and being a servant to the people around me. So that's how I got to where I am today.
Well, you make a wonderful deputy judge, and we're very thankful for you.
Thank you. So you've talked a little bit about what sparked your interest in working in public service, but what are some of the roles you've had in that sector?
Well, early on, like I said, ministry, and then after that in healthcare. Became involved in different aspects of county politics and all that goes with it. But Matt Bevin, after he won the nomination and won the governor's race, called me and asked me if I'd come to work for him. He had a perfect job for me, his words, not mine, but said that he wanted me to be his executive director of Constituent Service.
What is that? What is that?
Jokingly, that's the complaint department. But people have issues and concerns, and they will call the governor's office thinking that's the place to call. And sometimes it is, and we were able to help those people with concerns. Other times we would have to direct them to their local county government or their federal delegation to answer those problems. But anytime we had the opportunity to help somebody, and that was our goal, we solve problems. That was our motto in that office, and we loved helping people. Sometimes it was education for them to learn how this all works and whose authority is where and that sort of thing. Quick story to that, when I was in the governor's office, had a lady call. Her mother and father both were in the military during World War II. Afterwards, they went home like everybody else. They started a family. They were killed in a car accident. They lived in eastern Kentucky, family of very little means. And so for 50 years, mom and dad were in a grave that was not marked. And they found out that the military offers gravestones for these folks. They asked me, I got involved with a congressman, and within a matter of months, there were gravestones on those graves because this person called the governor's office. We couldn't do it, but I knew who to call on the federal side and got it taken care of.
Well, that's an important job. I sure hope they have that position even still.
They do.
Because, good. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. Well, you've done a lot of wonderful things for Shelby County. And one of the most memorable, maybe, that I can think of is the Gold Star Family Memorial in the Veterans Park. Can you talk a little bit about that, how that came to be, and then we'll expound on it as you go.
Well, to begin with, everybody needs to go and check out Woody Williams. Google his name. He's done TED Talks. He's an amazing person who, during World War II, was a flamethrower, and he ended up and saved a lot of lives. He was given the Medal of Honor. President Truman put that medal on him. And later in life, he got involved in doing things, and he had a catchphrase, "The cause is greater than I." That was his thing. And so he began to realize that there was a need in his hometown in West Virginia for a monument for Gold Star families. It was going to be a one-time thing. And then it took off, and it began to go everywhere. That's how I got involved. He and his grandson, who incidentally lives here in Shelby County, Chad Graham, the two of them met with the governor's office, military affairs, and said, we want to bring a Gold Star monument and put it on the Capitol lawn. And so we helped with that. I honored that on that committee that I was on, I got to be the one to make that motion that we do this. Not done with any tax dollars. It was all donations, but when you pull into the Capitol now, you see that Gold Star monument. Later on, when I became deputy judge and working for Judge Ison, looking across the street, saw Veterans Park, and I told the judge, I said, that'd be a great place for a Gold Star monument. We started talking about it. I invited Chad and Woody to come. Woody Williams picked out the spot where he wanted that Gold Star monument on that park. So he'd been here a couple of times.
And let me interrupt real quick. Can you explain what a Gold Star
Yes,
family
definitely.
is?
So a Gold Star family is someone who has lost a loved one who is in active duty. Whether it was during World War II, families would put a blue star in their window to let people know that their loved one was fighting for this country. Unfortunately, sometimes somebody would come to the house and they'd trade out that blue star for a Gold Star flag to put in the window. That let people know that this family lost a loved one. And so that's what started it. And so there are Gold Star families, Gold Star moms, Gold Star children, extended family. So Woody Williams decided to recognize these families that have given up everything, losing a loved one in the service of their country. And so that's what this monument is. You'll notice that there are no names on it. They want everybody to be able to come there, and this is for me and my family, whether they live here in Shelby County or Frankfort or wherever. But that's what that is.
Well, it's wonderful. There's lovely seating. You can sit and just contemplate, and beautiful bushes and trees. It's a lovely lovely
The community
place.
stepped up, and not one tax dollar was used for that. There's a mason, cement, someone who works with cement, that came in and volunteered his time and the materials to put the walkway in. And then we had an electrician that came in, volunteered his time and material to put the lights around it. So it was a community effort, and it was funded by just donations.
Very good. So when you were planning, now, of course, our show is called Kentucky Hidden Wonders. When they were digging, there was something hidden that was surprising. So Mason and I like to highlight these hidden gems and funny little stories. So talk a little bit about what was hidden.
As they were preparing the ground in Veterans Park to put this monument, they were out there, and we had road department out there that was helping with this, and they called me and said, "You need to come down here. We have a problem." And so I went down there, and they looked a little bit startled and concerned. And as they were digging, they found what appeared to be a child's casket. And so we began to do a little bit of research. I talked to one of the magistrates at the time, Ross Webb, and he said, that's a time capsule, that an area funeral director donated that box to put the items for the time capsule in. And so that's what was there. So we have purposely moved that to another location, of the park, but
Right.
it's still there. We just moved it so we could put the monument there, and they'd have access to that time capsule later on.
Did it have a note on it? I mean, so of course, in my mind, I'm thinking I could see the people. I'm not going to open it. Are you going to open it?
That's
I'm
kind
not
of the
going to open
conversation
it.
that took place.
Let's call John.
There is something that's on that box that
It said, "Do not open."
Says time It says
Okay.
time capsule, I think. So yeah.
Did it say what year that was placed?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Oh, sorry.
A
long
it's not
time
due
ago.
to be open yet. I can tell you
Okay.
that much.
Okay.
I can't believe it wasn't marked. I mean, in the park, there was
Yeah.
a time
There was a
capsule there.
plaque. There is a plaque, but it was in another part. They didn't bury that box where they buried the. You notice I'm not saying
good
coffin.
Right.
They buried the box a little bit separate from where that plaque is. So now that plaque is directly over that.
That
time
makes
capsule.
that makes more sense. They'd have to dig a whole lot of holes
Yeah,
to,
they'd
to
have to-
find it.
literally do some digging. So, moving back to the monument really quick, what was the response to that in the community, especially we have a lot of military families
Yes,
here.
we do.
So what was the response to that?
It was very moving. People stood up to write checks and to help pay for this, and it was very well received. And like I said, in the process of doing this, we discovered that one of our county employees is a a niece of someone who was killed in battle. So she is a Gold Star family member. We have a family that's here that lost their son a few years ago, and they were very much involved in this. In fact, those people were the ones that were invited to remove the covering when we did the unveiling.
Wow.
Now moving toward, I'm going to talk about the courthouse just a little bit, which is just right across the street from Veterans Park.
Yeah.
You and Judge Ison have been doing a whole lot of work on that beautiful, beautiful courthouse. And talk a little bit about the history for listeners that don't know a lot about the courthouse. I mean, it is beautiful. For those listening that have not been in, I definitely invite you to take a peek inside. But what are some interesting facts and interesting stories about the courthouse?
So the old courthouse, as we call it today, because we have a new judicial center block down the street, but the old courthouse was built in 1912. It's the fourth courthouse for Shelby County, and it's seen a lot of history. Early on, during the suffrage movement, there was a well-known British woman, Ethel Snowden, who came through Shelby County as she spoke across the country on giving women the right to vote. And the newspaper of the day said that the churches in the area closed. It was a Sunday night, and all the churches closed, so their people could come and hear this woman speak. So that's a interesting part of history of this building. The courthouse was the actual judicial courthouse at the time when there was a very famous murder trial that took place. And there's books about it. I don't remember all the details. I apologize, but there's a lot of history in that building.
Well, it's absolutely beautiful. And I remember, so as I had said just a moment ago, the judge is doing a lot of work trying to fix it up. So when you were redoing the stairs outside the courthouse, there was another hidden gem, a hidden wonder that was discovered. Tell the listeners a little bit about that.
The architect that was helping us with all this, he would come in, and every time he came in, he would find something else. And I got to a point where I said, look, we need to put a blindfold on you, because every time you come in, you find something else that's going to be a problem that we have to take care of. One of those things was the front steps of the courthouse, the granite steps that are out there. He noticed that they were turning in and kind of creating a valley in the middle. The supports underneath were disintegrating, and so he suggested we need to fix that problem. So they pulled all those steps off, numbered them, set them aside so they can get under there and fix that. When they did, they found an opening which led to a tunnel, and it's closed in now, but the story is that tunnel was sometimes used to move prisoners that were there at the courthouse from the courthouse to the jail that was about a block and a half away to the south of the courthouse.
And of course, I wanted you to call me so I could go in it, but I love things like that. Was it brick? What was on the inside? Was it dirt or brick?
Well, the floor is dirt, but the building itself, the entire building is brick, but it does have the stone facade on the outside of it. So, but yeah, it was interesting to look in there. None of us wanted to go in.
Yeah, I probably would stick my head in actually and say, I'm good.
Yeah,
but
that's what we said. Yeah.
But it's interesting, it's historical, and it's neat that you found it.
Mm-hmm. So switching gears a little bit, you've worked in state and local county government, and how has that shaped your perspective on what makes communities like Shelby County thrive?
Well, when you're on the state level, you're dealing with 120 counties, and there's a lot of different varying situations. When you get to the county, when I came here from working in the governor's office, I went from the governor's office to the attorney general's office, and then Dan Eisen called me and asked me to come to work for him. When I got here, I'd lived in Shelby County for a while at that point. I knew the community. I knew a lot of the people. But as I've gotten involved, I've realized that this is more than just a county, it's a community. And do we always agree every bit of the time? No, we don't. But at the same time, we all have the common bond that we want to make Shelby County better. And everybody's working that way. So we have a great relationship with our two cities and the other communities. We have a great relationship with our Main Street director. We have a great relationship with our tourism director. And we all work together to do what we can to make Shelby County better than we found it.
And you may have already answered this question, this next one. So what would you say, you've lived here for a while, what makes living in Shelby County fabulous?
It's
for you personally.
I tell everybody it's Mayberry. We have a sheriff who walks around. I don't know if I should say this or not, but he doesn't always carry a sidearm. He's a great guy, friendly to everybody.
But I think he could take you down without a sidearm. Shout out to Mark Moore.
but to that, I mean, Shelbyville, Shelby County is Mayberry, and you can't go in the bank without them saying your name when you walk in, and they don't need you to fill out all kinds of information. They go right to work, take care of your business, and move on. Everybody knows everybody here, and Judge Eisen will tell you there are no secrets in Shelby County. That sometimes that's good, sometimes that's not so good, but it's a great community to be a part of. And one of the things I do as deputy judge when I talk to people, I say, as deputy judge, I want to invite you to just come home to Shelby County.
Oh, well, so I've been here 3 years, and one of the first things my husband and I both said, oh my gosh, they're just so nice. Everybody, everywhere, elected officials, the community, very welcoming. They're just so nice.
Yes,
that should be a slogan somewhere.
I think they tried that or something at one time. So I remember reading that somewhere. So you talked just a little bit about it just now, but what is your role as deputy judge executive? What do you do as? I
wear a lot of different hats. I'm the judge's chief of staff. I'm the guy that steps in when he can't be there. My hand hurts because I'm the one that signs all the checks, and there's a lot of checks. We have a $40 million budget for Shelby County, and so there's a lot of good things we do. But I get to be a part of that, and again, I'm also constituent service. I'm the complaint department. I'm the guy that they call when they have an issue with a pothole on their county road, or a dog running loose, whatever. Read Facebook and you'll see some of the complaints that we hear. So,
or don't read Facebook for that.
Peace of mind, maybe don't.
But I get to do. It's not a job where I just come and sit and do the same thing over and over and over again. Everything, I don't know what I'm coming into sometimes when I come to work.
Well, I see you out and about in so many different areas, so I know definitely you wear a whole lot of hats, a whole lot of meetings, and we are lucky to have you and Judge Eisen both. So is there anything surprising or little-known facts that you want to share with the listeners, or something that you have recently learned about Shelby County that maybe listeners don't know about, some historical fact?
I've shared some of that, but the courthouse, initially, like I said, it was the courthouse. When they built the new judicial center, they kind of abandoned the courthouse, the old courthouse, for a while. It became a storage unit for all intents and purposes. But when Judge Ison came in, he believed that the courthouse needed to be the seat of county government, and went in there and started from the inside, started kind of cleaning things up and restoring it. And then we moved to the outside. The historic California tile roof was broken and leaking, causing problems in the building. We fixed the roof. There's gunshot holes around the top of the building. I tell everybody that even though it was built in 1912, it was involved in a series of Civil War battles. It wasn't, but
it makes for a good story.
But back in the day, to get rid of the pigeons, and we had nothing to do with this, just full disclosure, but they would come in on Sundays and have pigeon shoots just to try to reduce the population. So when we restored the building, we restored all that facade that's on the outside, the stonework, 100-plus-year-old building. So the stone was starting to deteriorate. You could put your hand along the wall and sand would just come off. We've restored some of those stones. We've sealed it. Of course, the steps, like you mentioned earlier, we've got a new project getting ready to start, putting in new windows. It's still a historic building, and they will be accurate to the time period, but it's a functioning building. And to have windows sliding out of their frames and getting very cold in the wintertime, that's our next step. We put new doors on. We've spent quite a bit of money just
But it's important. I remember right before we started the podcast, the funding, a lot of that funding came from our tourists that come in.
Absolutely. So the hotel tax, we ask you all to help us and guide some of that funds to us as you can. And
that was through the interlocal agreement too.
Yes. Yeah. To
be clear. Oh, very good. So at the back is the old stone jail, which is really amazing.
Yes, it is.
Which is a hidden gem, a hidden wonder, definitely. And I know because you and Judge Ison are so good about funding, you had gotten a grant, I believe, to fix up the jailer's house. How's that coming?
It's slow because it's a brownfield grant, which is federally funded, and anytime you say federal government, that slows everything down. A lot of red tape, a lot of things have to happen. But we did get approved for a $150,000 grant to abate that old building. I mean, it's an old building, so there's lead paint, there's asbestos. All that has to be remediated before we can move forward and repurpose that building. But that is the plan.
Well, very exciting. And one neat thing about Shelby County that we all know, we're so good about saving historic buildings and saving history. And John, do you have anything else that you'd like to?
I don't have anything else for you. But.
Do you have anything else? Or
well, one of the things that we've teased about before, but one of the hidden gems or secrets of Shelby County is while Corden, Kentucky is the birthplace of Kentucky Fried Chicken, Colonel Sanders found his way. He and his wife Claudia found their way to Shelby County, where back in the mid-50s they moved here and lived the rest of their life here. And so you can still go to Claudia Sanders' restaurant. It's Colonel Sanders Chicken, and enjoy that a little bit. As you drive in, you look at that house and realize, Colonel Sanders lived in that house. So
that's very historic. I wondered if you were going to bring old Colonel Sanders into the conversation because you make a wonderful reenactor of that historic character.
I was just thinking about that, and the fair's right around the corner. We'll be out there again, and it's interesting to watch people come up and tell stories of how they met the Colonel. Apparently, he did a lot of plane travel because they met him on a plane or in an airport. And a lot of people have good stories to tell about him, and those that worked for him sometimes have a little bit more interesting story. But overall, Colonel Sanders is still very well loved in Shelby County, and to get to be a part of that. And when you have two reenactors, one who is looking kind of like Colonel Sanders and the other guy is Abraham Lincoln, and when the two of them are out at the fair together by accident, everybody stops and has to get a picture with both of them.
Oh, and Larry,
Elliott.
Reenactor also. So those listening, definitely join us at the Kentucky State Fair. Shelby County always has a booth. We've expanded this year. We're going to have a 10 by 30, inviting some partners to join us, and hopefully the judge and deputy judge will be
Colonel Sanders will
well.
be out there. But
And Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, we'll be out there as well.
Well, John, thank you so much for joining us. I
thank you.
love talking to you. You are so insightful of history and all that goes on in Shelby County. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate being here. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. This has been Kentucky Hidden Wonders. Thank you to Shelby County Deputy Judge Executive Jon Park for coming on the show, and thank you for listening. If you've made it this far, make sure you subscribe and leave us a review. It means the world to us. We'll return with a brand new Kentucky Hidden Wonders episode in 2 weeks. Bye, everyone. Kentucky Hidden Wonders is a Shelby KY Tourism production. Your hosts are Janet Marson and Mason Warren. To learn more about Shelby KY Tourism and to start planning a visit, head to visitshelbyky.com.